transition from a tornado threat to a flooding threat as we go later into the evening hours. So we'll have to watch for the potential for a lot of flooded roadways in some of these areas that continue to get pounded with heavy rain and certainly gusty winds. These storms do not look, just the look on radar, they do not look near as bad as they did earlier in the evening as far as the tornadic potential. What they do look like is very heavy rain producers with damaging wind and possibly some small hail. So we'll keep an eye on these storms as they continue. But again, right now, one tornado warning continues until 7:15, and they may expire this here shortly. In fact,
yeah, this tornado warning, this is the only one on the board right now, and yeah, the main rotation has moved pretty well out of the box, so I'm sure they're going to expire that soon. Basically, anywhere in that tornado warning box, you are actually safe right now. So Newmarket, you're safe. Meridianville, you're safe. That's going to be expired soon. We've got a couple severe thunderstorm warnings right now. We're seeing a little bit of a transition to this, and again, this is a good thing. I'm not going to get too overly excited about this because, you know, we've had a few periods already where things have quieted down, and then we've also, you know, ended up seeing things ramp up once again, and I'm getting word we've got some damage pics, so... Oh, okay, cloud pictures. Yeah, let's go through some of those, guys. Let's go through some of those because I don't see any immediate tornado concerns right now. You know, I've been getting a lot of good pictures on Twitter. Certainly appreciate that. This is from Clements, Brian Bauer. Judging by the sunlight, looks like that was probably the first storm that came through the Athens area earlier. Kind of tough to tell from this picture, but you can definitely see a lowering. Just some plain old overcast skies, kind of an ominous-looking sky there in hazel green. That's from Mike Wilhelm. We've got a picture here from Meridianville. Nice little shelf cloud there. And you can see in the background there, I want to stop on this one for a second because if you look on the bottom side of that shelf cloud, you're seeing actually up into the storm. Whenever you see that green glow, that is generally indicating that we've got some hail in the storm. And we had a report of baseball-sized hail in Elkmont earlier. We've had multiple reports of golf ball-sized hail in some different spots as well. So again, speaking of the hail, there it is. That looks like a good, solid golf ball-sized piece of hail, maybe even an egg-sized piece. So either way, that's pretty significant hail for sure. And there you go. Look at that green glow again. A lot of people always ask me about that. What is I see the green glow. Does that mean there's a tornado coming? No, it's actually the way that the ice, the big pieces of ice, the hail, refract the sunlight. There's another example, hazel green, that shelf cloud there, some of that green glow there. But again, not seeing tornadoes on any of these pictures. I do know that we have had some reports of some tornadoes on the ground around there earlier. That tornado warning is now been expired, and let's see, Weather Service is continuing this tornado warning for Madison County until 7:15. Let's see, over Newmarket near Moores Mill, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So again, I'm looking at this, guys, and we are seeing a little bit of a broad rotation here. So again, this is not looking like some of those storms we had earlier where it was a big supercell hook echo. You had a really intense rotation and things like that. This is more just kind of a squall line-ish type of storm where you're just getting the wind kind of moving inbound on the front side of the storm and kind of outbound as the storm's trying to move through, and you're getting just little tiny spin-ups on the outside of it. Still, again, Meridianville, you're completely safe right now. East side of Newmarket, yeah, you may want to just take things easy. Don't think we're going to have a tornado with this storm. We certainly do not have anything on radar. Let's go over to Megan Wiebold, WAAY-31 reporter. She's been down in the storm shelter in Athens for a little bit. Are you seeing any damage out there? Are you outside right now? What's your situation?
Hi, Arya. I'm actually in the car heading west on Elm Street in Athens. There is a lot of flooding. There are actually some road closures. It looks like they are closing down the street kind of right in front of me. We've heard, I was actually in the storm shelter during the last two tornadoes that came through here. I've actually heard there's some damage west of Athens. That's where I'm currently heading, trying to make my way out there, but looks like they are blocking off a lot of roads. I've seen a couple of trees down. There's definitely a lot of water on these roads. Went through probably about a foot of standing water on Elm Street. Oh, looks like they are going to turn me around here. we've just got a lot of reports of damage here in Limestone County. It looks like a lot of power outages as well. I'm not seeing a single light that's on here in Athens.
You know, that's not really all that surprising based on what that radar signature looked like when the first tornado went through. So here's where Megan is right now. She's in Athens, and she's actually moving toward the west side of Athens. I'm going to tell you this right now, Megan. If you got flooding out there, there's another batch of some very heavy rain that's going to be coming in out of the south and west pretty darn soon. So we really want you to be careful out there. Again, you know, we had a pretty nasty storm move through there earlier. Megan, when those storms went through, you were down in the storm shelters. Did you hear anything? Were you hearing the roar? Were you close to the storms? Were you close to the possible tornado?
Yeah, we could hear the wind. I'm not sure if it was a roar. I've honestly never been through a tornado before, but we could hear a lot of wind that was hitting the sides of the building. We were deep in the center of the building. I was actually with the utilities crew here in Athens and Limestone County, and they took shelter as well. Everybody left their emergency shelter or their emergency operations center and came into the shelter with us as well. So we were kind of hunkered down there twice. We did that for a good 15, 20 minutes or
Okay,
so.
Megan, here's what I want you to do right now. In fact, while you were just talking, the Weather Service just issued another tornado warning, which is going to include your area. You've got some time, but I want you to go ahead and go back to where you were at.
All right.
And we'll check in with you a little bit later. You should be fine. You should have enough time to get there, so don't worry. You don't have to speed or anything like that. But again, we'll check in with you later. Thanks a lot for the report.
Okay.
So we just had a tornado warning issued for Lawrence, Limestone, Morgan County, and Alabama. That goes until 7:30 p.m. tonight. So again, let's take a little bit of a closer look at this storm here on radar. We'll zoom on into it. Just so interesting that exactly while we're on the phone with Megan, we get that warning. Here it is, yeah, and this is a legitimate rotation right around the Hillsborough area. If you live in Hillsborough in Lawrence County, need you in your tornado shelter right now. Tanner as well, and also the city of Athens. I know this is the third time we've asked you to do that today. Again, you guys have the most time in Athens. It's still pretty far away from you guys, probably about 25 to 30 minutes away. So we want you to get to your tornado shelter right now. Let me put a lapse on this just to see exactly which direction it's going. And it really just appeared, this rotation. It's headed pretty much toward the east and northeast, so this may skirt the north side of Decatur as well. So we want you in your tornado shelter in Decatur, Tanner, Athens, Hillsborough right now, and anywhere in between those cities. And I'm going to check up on some of the reports here. We'll send it back to you guys for a minute.
Thanks, Ari. We've got this tornado warning now in place. This does include central Limestone County here as well. You can see the circulation right here just to the south of Hillsborough. And this also does include the far northwestern corner of Morgan County as well. And then we also have this continuing into central Limestone County as well. You can see that Athens continues to be in the path of this tornado, going to be moving off towards the north and to the east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. You can see right here, pretty tight circulation. This has been developing over the last several minutes here, and the Weather Service thinks this now is a tornado. Doppler radar indicated tornado now. We can shift this off to the north and to the east. We can bring that system over here just a little bit. Ari, you can see Hillsborough, Orville, Tanner, Athens, Capshaw, Harvest, Tony, Brookhurst, all in the path of this particular tornado, this possible tornado. I want to indicate that as of right now, we are not expecting, or we don't have confirmation that this is on the ground. But again, with the environment like we have today, we can't mess around with any of these circulations. And again, this is going to be moving off towards the north and to the east, basically towards the city of Tanner, also the city of Athens here, and also the Decatur area. Maybe if you live on the north side of Decatur, as well as Tanner and Athens, you need to be in your safe place. Again, I know we've been talking about Athens. You've basically been in your safe place for the last maybe couple of hours. We're going to need you to go right back down there, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. Now, out of Decatur, you have Highway 24 that goes back towards Moulton and Lawrence County. That's going to be north of that highway. That's going to be continuing to move off towards the north and to the east. And also, if you look here, places like Harvest, also in the path of this storm as it continues to move towards the north and to the east. So, Ari, if we can take off those places, take a little bit of a closer look here. I want to take a look and see about the reflectivity, see how it is looking as well. You can see kind of a broad circulation here, but again, you can see kind of how it pulsed up right here and might be broadening out once again. But again, the Weather Service thinks that there is a good enough potential to go ahead and issue this tornado warning. This does include the far, far northern portions of Morgan County. This does include the city of Decatur. If I was in Decatur, I would be in your safe place, especially if you live on the northern side of the city here. Small room, lowest floor near the center there, and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Again, this is going to be continuing to move off towards the north and east at about 40 miles per hour. Again, the circulation not looking quite as impressive as what it was maybe just the last scan, but again, this might be kind of pulsing up and down here. We've seen that all afternoon and evening. You'll see a storm really wrap up and then kind of occlude and then redevelop on the south side here. So let's turn the Barron button on. I want to see if there's any kind of shear being indicated. Not just yet. We're just indicating some hail. Now, this is severe hail, quarter-sized hail here, but again, with the environment that we are looking at today, we cannot discount even the broad circulations. Again, we don't have a confirmation that this tornado is on the ground, but if you live in Hillsborough and points to the north and to the east, here's that reflectivity signature. You can kind of see a little bit of an inflow notch right here just to the east of Hillsborough and just approaching the western suburbs of Decatur. So again, if you live in Decatur, I want you to go ahead and go to your safe place and get down on the lowest floor of your house here on the northern side of Decatur as well. So, Ari, if we can take a little bit of a closer look here, maybe pop on a couple of the roads here as well with this circulation here. You can see, maybe we can plot this east-west highway here. This is alternate US 72. Nobody needs to be driving on alternate US 72 as well, coming out of Decatur in the Decatur area and also coming east out of Hillsborough into the central and southern portions here of Madison and Limestone County here. So we have a tornado warning now for southeastern Lawrence County, northwestern Morgan County, and again, Limestone County here under that tornado warning. Ripley Road and US Highway 31 coming out of Athens down towards the south, back towards the eastern portion of Decatur. Again, nobody should be traveling on any of these roadways from Hillsborough back towards Athens. Again, not the best signature that we've seen all day, but you can clearly see we've got a little bit of an inflow notch right here just to the east of Hillsborough, approaching the western portions of Decatur. And again, we have a lot of people living in Decatur, and so if there is something down on the ground, a lot of lightning with this storm, and I would surmise that if there is something down on the ground, I would think that some of the people there in Decatur, some of the emergency management would probably get word here, and we might see the circulation starting to redevelop a little bit to the south and to the west of Decatur. But again, this whole storm looks like it's kind of spinning a little bit. We've got a lot of broad rotation, which is good news. We don't like to see that tight circulation of what we've been seeing with a lot of storms over the last several hours here. But again, this is going to continue off to the north and to the east real fast. We have a really cool, so to speak, lightning picture from Athens. We can take that real fast. You can see just cloud-to-ground lightning continuing to be a threat here. Right there behind that house, definite cloud-to-ground lightning strike right there. That's from Kaylee Adair. We appreciate you sending that picture in. But Spencer, I'll turn it back over to you here on the weather wall. We'll talk more about this circulation as it moves out of Hillsborough now towards the Decatur and maybe the south side of Athens.
Yeah, and what I'm looking at right now, Ryan Wade, one of the folks over there at WAAY, who is tracking these storms. They're out chasing these storms, and with their mobile radar reported a base lowering, no visible funnel 5 miles east of Moulton on Alabama Highway 24. So certainly there's some rotation there. Still remains to be seen if we'll see anything actually touch down, but certainly they don't need it in these areas that have already seen so much. And so we'll continue to hope that this doesn't touch down. Also, numerous reports of power lines down along with trees and branches. This coming from the, I believe, Colbert County EMA. And so a lot of damage reports coming out right now from these particular storms that continue to push into portions of Limestone, Madison, back toward Lawrence County as well. This is the tornado warning for Lawrence. Now, the tornado warning for Madison has expired, so we can give you the all clear. Let's zoom back out and show you the reflectivity on this and give you an idea. The tornado warning, this warning here has actually expired for Madison County. So no longer a tornado warning here in Madison County. So that's good news. Looks like just some rain and thunder. We still have this big cluster of storms with the potential for a tornado in Lawrence County, and that's really the only storm we're focusing on right now. Still watching this big cluster of storms in portions of Franklin County. Again, right now the biggest threat with that is damaging winds. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Lincoln, also Franklin County. But here's the tornado warning. Here's Tanner. We're looking down toward Decatur. Here's Hillsborough. Hillsborough, you're in the clear. This storm has passed you by. Also, Cortland, you're okay at this point. Flint, looks like Flint City okay, but this storm moving in to the north side of Decatur up toward Tanner and Athens. And again, tornado warning continues. You're probably hearing the sirens. And it looks like wall cloud has been reported where was that at? Just west of Moulton. I'm sorry, yeah, east of Moulton. So this is a wall cloud coming from the folks at UAH. Swirl is actually the severe weather research and lightning. This is the folks that they're building the new severe weather research center here in Huntsville on the campus of UAH. Those folks are out, and you can see the possible. This is definitely a wall cloud. There could be a tornado drop from this, but again, the trees are in the way, so you can't really see if there's something there or not. So we'll keep an eye on this as we go through the evening hours. And just getting word that Governor Bentley has declared a state of emergency, and I'm assuming that's for most of North Alabama. Okay, so for all Alabama counties, Governor Bentley declaring a state of emergency. So again, these storms have been powerful, damaging storms. We continue right now with one tornado warning moving in on the city of Athens, another cluster to the north, more storms down to the south. The good news is, in this line of storms, it's becoming more linear. Still, there's tornado warnings to the west and northwest of Birmingham right now, but hopefully this line will just push on through, because what we don't want to happen is these storms continue to move over the same areas and give us a pretty big flooding threat. So that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. But for now, just storms, just general thunderstorms back across northwest Alabama. Again, heaviest stuff right now between Athens and Decatur. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of rotation with that.
Yeah, I think what happened with this storm, Spencer, is initially there was an impressive rotation, and like a lot of the storms earlier, you got to slap a warning on it. You know what I mean? But it actually died down very quickly. So just to be on the safe side here, I'll tell you we're not particularly concerned about a tornado right now within this tornado warning box. We've not had any confirmation, but just to be safe, I know you've made the preparations. Let's go ahead and use those tornado shelters: Tanner, Athens, Hillsborough. In fact, the worst of this is actually starting to get a little bit north and east of Hillsborough, so you guys are fine. But north side of Decatur, Tanner, Athens, places like that. Blackburn, I know we've asked you a couple times in Athens already. This is not going to be anything like what came through earlier, okay? So I don't want you to worry about that. But just to be safe, let's get in our tornado shelter. This is a live view from the airport. A little bit tough to... We're looking out toward the west. And yeah, you can see some very intense lightning with these storms. Let me just kind of back out here and get a little bit of a lightning count across the entire region. Let's throw the old... And folks, the reason I take the lightning off during coverage is because I really want to focus in on exactly what's going on. I don't want the screen to get too cluttered. I know sometimes it can be a little bit distracting, but we've got 691 cloud-to-ground strikes. A couple things that I will also take off from time to time that I want to remind you about right now, and actually I may just leave these on here because it is kind of important tonight. These flash flood warnings, because this is going to be a big deal. Just about all of northwest Alabama is under a flash flood warning. We've also got just about all of Limestone County, northwestern Madison County, and then also into southwestern Lincoln County that is under a flash flood warning. So again, these are going to go until really the next several hours, till about 10:30 or so tonight, those flash flood warnings. We've also got a severe thunderstorm warning between Hazel Green and Huntland. Not seeing anything rotating in that storm. We'll double check it just to make sure, but yeah, the rotations are pretty broad in general. And Spencer, I'm thinking maybe we might be starting to get over with the worst of it, because the worst of the best setup for some of these stronger storms and some of the you know, the long track tornadoes and this type of deal was going to be northwest Alabama. And now as this stuff continues to move a little bit farther toward the east, you know, starting to get a little bit more linear. Again, we've got this tornado warning that there's likely not a tornado in, but again, we still want you in your tornado shelter. North side of Decatur to near Tanner. It looks like this actually may be trying to wrap up a little bit again, kind of one of these cycling storms. And this is why I said, just to be safe, please, good idea to be in your tornado shelter. Tanner, Blackburn, Athens, Orville, north side of Decatur. Hillsborough, you're in the clear for now. You're fine, so you can come out of your shelter if you were there. Cortland, same deal. But we are starting to see just a little bit more of a rotation on this guy. Again, northwest side of Decatur, not seeing any tornado debris or anything like that. Earlier on, we had a couple different tornado debris signatures. And this storm system, it actually does have a little bit of that. It actually does have a little bit of that hook look to it. So we'll watch this one closely over the next couple of scans and see what it does. But bottom right of your screen, again, that's Huntsville International looking out toward the west, and that is a whole lot of lightning. A little bit of a dangerous spot to be filming from there. But I'm sure we'll get a couple of lightning strikes up here on our tower in the next couple of hours. We've already gotten one. May kind of take out the computers briefly, but either way, again, decent amount of stuff going on right now, but we may be starting to wind down. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Spencer?
Yeah, it seems like these storms are not rotating as much as they were earlier, and that's certainly some good news. They've kind of transitioned into more strong to severe storms. Usually these type of storms, you see more severe thunderstorm warnings on, and so I think that's what we're going to see still again. And that's Ari and I saw the same thing at the same time there. Still little rotation, but just not anything like what we saw earlier this afternoon that were so powerful. And again, these are all tracking north and east. Again, if we do have anything there, Tanner, you want to take your tornado precautions. Again, we don't want you guys to let your guard down just because we're not emphasizing these storms quite as much as we were earlier. And part of the reason may be because we've been doing it for 4 or 5 hours now, but the main reason is because we just don't see a whole lot of rotation with these storms. And so that's good news. That's what we want to be able to tell folks. But still, if you're in a tornado warned area, you need to take shelter until the storm passes. So if you're in Athens, Tanner, or Decatur, stay in your safe place again until this storm passes. And I don't know how many times today it seems like we've said that for these same areas, but again, just until this storm passes. It's heading toward Capshaw, so we'll have to keep an eye on this because these storms do have a tendency to flare up pretty quick without much warning. So we'll keep an eye on that area of rotation there just north and northwest of Decatur. Let's turn back over to reflectivity. This is looking at the radar, the actual raindrops, and telling you, and again, there's a little bit of that area that we're concerned about. We'll zoom back out just a little, and again, there's the cluster of storms over Athens pushing toward Huntsville, more storms back toward Moulton. But again, this is the only warning right now, and what we're about to do here in just a few minutes is once this warning expires, if we don't have any more tornado warnings, we're actually going to go into news coverage and actually tell you guys and tell you folks what's happening with some of these storms as far as the damage, because there has been quite a bit of damage across the Tennessee Valley. We're still watching this one tornado warned storm, and again, this goes till what time, Ari?
7:30.
7:30. So another 5 minutes. And I don't think they're going to reissue this, at least based on what I'm seeing right now. They may issue another one if this ramps back up. But right now, I'm just not seeing a whole lot. It just looks like a cluster of strong storms, some lightning. I'm noticing too, I don't know if you mentioned this before, I was working on some other stuff, but the lightning count has gone down quite a bit too.
Yeah, earlier on today, gosh, I remember being zoomed in on what seemed like maybe just 1 or 2 storms, and we had a lightning count over 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. And now, yeah, the lightning count has gone down significantly, and yeah, it's to be expected with the loss of the daytime heating. What you're seeing here with the 863, that's actually a lot of that's from this storm down here south of Hamilton.
And it's also probably from this storm up here in in southern Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, either way, we're not seeing near as much lightning. The storms don't look as organized as they did before. They look a little more disorganized, and they're not showing the characteristics of major rotation. So this is good news. Maybe, just maybe, we're starting to see these things wind down some, and we'll just probably see a loud, stormy night out there, some gusty winds, intense lightning, and certainly some heavy rain. I think we'll transition into more of a flood threat now because we're still seeing the rain go over the same exact areas here in North Alabama and southern Tennessee, all the way back into northwest Alabama. Florence, things looking much better over there. Still some heavier rain across southern Wayne and Lawrence County, but again, still some pretty potent storms, 2 areas just east of Lynchburg, around Fayetteville, and then also around Athens and Decatur. And again, this will move through the city of Huntsville in portions. If you could put a lapse on that real quick, and you can see track is still in the same areas almost. So we're talking northwestern sides of Madison County, Capshaw, Harvest, Monrovia, Highway 72, Wall Triana, County Line Road, those areas. As you move into parts of eastern Limestone County, East Limestone, getting hammered with heavy rain, and then just some scattered showers and thunderstorms down here into portions of Morgan County. So tornado warning continues for about another minute or two. We're approaching 7:30, and I'm not seeing anything there now.
There's a little. It appears there's a little bit of a broad rotation left here still. But yeah, I mean, we might be a little bit clouded by what we saw earlier too. I'm trying to think objectively about it. You know, I mean, we did have some incredibly intense rotations earlier, along with debris signatures on that storm that came through Athens. We saw one come out of Tupelo earlier that thankfully did end up actually kind of dying down before it made it into northwest Alabama. So. Bottom line is, this is our last tornado warning that's left right now. South of Tanner, let me get some roads here. The rotation right now is basically about to cross U.S. Highway 31 near Tanner, and of course it's going to cross I-65 there pretty soon as well. At this point, it appears that we'll miss Athens to the south. So if you're in Athens right now and you are in your tornado shelter, I think it's safe to come out. So again, Tanner, you need to be in your tornado shelter right now. We also need you in your tornado shelter if you're in Orville, because it's pretty much right over you right now. And again, we're not particularly concerned about a tornado on the ground with this storm as compared to some of the other ones that we've had earlier, but we do want to just kind of make sure and, you know, take it easy and just be smart with these storms. Just, you know, if not anything else, just based on the history of the storm system. Produced some violent long-track tornadoes yesterday into Arkansas. We've already had one earlier today near Tupelo, Mississippi. Another one, it appears, was a violent long-track tornado near Athens earlier with 2 confirmed fatalities. This was just a couple of hours ago here in the Tennessee Valley. So, you know, it never hurts to be on the safe side. Let's just take this one seriously. We've got just a couple more minutes to go with it. Weather Service will probably expire it, and after that, again, we'll go over to the news coverage if we don't get any more tornado warnings. Or we'll toss to normal coverage, or whatever it'll be. It won't be severe weather coverage. But we may have to come back in at some point tonight, because you look off toward our south and west. Tell you what, we still got some tornado warnings down there, and it looked like these had kind of backed off for a little bit. But if you look northwest of Birmingham right now, we've got a cluster of about 3 tornado warnings there with this little line of storms that's east of Hamilton. In fact, we may want to let's take a little bit of a closer look at some of these guys with the Columbus, Mississippi radar. Let me just pop it over to here real quick, and we can get some of the velocities on these guys. And yeah, that's pretty legit. So again, this is south of Hamilton. We already had a confirmed tornado that moved west of Hamilton up toward Hackleburg and eventually into Phil Campbell. I think it may have died down before it got to Phil Campbell. But you can see these rotating cells here down toward our south. These are going to continue to move from southwest to north and east across the region, so we'll watch these closely through the night for you. In the meantime, just this one tornado warning for a rotation that's near Tanner right now. And again, that's going to... Yeah, did they just expire it? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, we'll shoot it back over to you, Spencer.
Yeah, they did expire finally, while you were talking about that, they expired that warning. And so right now, as of right now, I don't think I've been able to say this for 4.5, 5 hours maybe, no tornado warnings here in the Tennessee Valley right now. In fact, we're looking at basically a lot of flood warnings across portions of Madison, Limestone, back into portions of northwest Alabama. Flood threat will continue. The storms do not look as organized. And again, this is the view of the entire Tennessee Valley. We're watching the storms for you folks up there in Fayetteville and Winchester, but again, they're not tornadic at this time. They don't show any signs of rotation. We'll watch this cluster as it moves through Limestone into Madison, and still more storms, just isolated storms back to our west. But as of right now, no tornado warnings, and that extends all the way past Hamilton. So really and truly, we're looking at just a line of showers and thunderstorms that will continue to move through for portions of, we'll say, portions of North Alabama, and eventually over toward Jackson and DeKalb County. Again, there is a tornado warning that has been issued, and it looks like it's going just into the southern side of Winston County. But for right now, no warnings here in North Alabama in our immediate viewing area or southern Tennessee. And so what we're looking at is still some rain across northeast Alabama, DeKalb, Jackson, and Marshall County. I-59 just seeing some rain. This cluster will continue to push off to the east, and eventually we'll see this line push on through as we head into the overnight hours. So for right now, since we have no tornado warnings, we are going to head back to what we're seeing, our actual normal coverage, our normal viewing, and that is Dancing with the Stars. We'll keep an eye on the radar. We'll keep an eye on the storms here in southern Tennessee and North Alabama. Ari Sarsalari and Isaac Williams and myself will come back on if tornado warning is issued. But again, just severe thunderstorm warnings right now. No tornado warnings here across North Alabama and southern Tennessee. We're keeping an eye on the weather. We'll keep you advised.